Hey Squad fam, what is up? Today I'm doing a movie review. I never thought I would do a movie review because it always seemed like it would take a lot of time, and this did take a lot of time. If you're not familiar with the American Girl dolls, you're probably not American. I'm just gonna take a wild guess and say that, I don't know, I could be off, but it's the first thing that comes to mind is maybe you're not American. Basically they're these overpriced dolls. Just found out American Girl dolls are no longer $100. It used to be $100 per girl, and now they're 30. I was being scammed as a kid. This can't be real. What I always did is I would make stop motions with them, and all the dolls come with their own little backstory, and so I would love watching the movies for them where they would explain their backstory, what they're Shazam, what their thing is, you know? So I used to watch those all the fucking time as a kid. I always remember not finishing them. So I was I want to finish one, but I'm gonna be really honest, I didn't finish it. I had to skip the ending because I was so fucking bored. So yeah, this is my movie review of Sage Paints the Sky, an amazing, amazing Oscar-winning award, 30,000 global award-winning award piece of art of a movie. It's so good. Also, this is my second YouTube video slash first ever YouTube video where I'm doing movie commentary. So let me know if you like this or if you prefer this stuff where I more so do stuff. I don't know. Just let me know. I want the feedback, you know? I need to know how we're feeling. So yeah, let's get started. So we start off the movie and Sage is outside drawing. She's just doing her little dancey dance, and then her mom comes outside and goes, Sage! And so Sage goes inside. She goes inside and we're introduced to the family and we meet the dad, and the dad they never really explained this, but I guess he's just a balloon, a hot air balloon guy. They never got into detail about this. He just worked with hot air balloons. So anyway, he has a hot air balloon and it has Sage's design on it. And then she's gonna miss the bus. Okay, I gotta go on the bus. And that's exactly what she does. She goes to school. Which is located in New Mexico, which is get well soon. Number one step, don't fucking live in New Mexico, dude. You're asking for some shit to happen to you. So then when we get to the school, we are introduced to Tessa and Dylan. Tessa is Sage's BFF forever, but Dylan is this hoe who's trying to take over Sage's position by becoming friends with Tessa. Well, actually they were friends, but it's she wants to replace fucking Sage. And Sage is oh my god, no you did not. And so she's actually kind of a bitch to her. Dylan's oh my god, how are you? And she's a new student comes into class after this and their name is Gabby, and she's sitting there and she's holding her books and she gets brought in, and this is the first day of school, so this literally makes no sense. How come in movies all the time whenever there's a new kid on the first day of school they always get a special introduction? I've been the new kid multiple times. I've never fucking gotten that. Everyone's new when you're first starting a year. I'm sorry. That literally will never make any sense to me. Anyway, she gets introduced and then she sits next to Sage and she's I love your grandma. Huge fan, because apparently her grandma is a famous artiste. And so Gabby is I love your grandma and I love you. Do you want to be friends? And Sage is not really, but okay. That's literally how it goes. So after the announcement that they have a new student, the teacher walks in. The teacher's I have horrible news. We have no more art class. And so that was absolutely devastating for Sage to hear, as art is her passion. This also really confused me because growing up, nobody liked art class. Even the kids that liked art fucking hated art class for me, because it was just so fucking because you weren't allowed to draw what you wanted to draw. You always did the projects about the things. I don't know. Nobody liked art class. So I was just a little confused by that, but pop off, be who you are. So then we go to the grandma's house, and the grandma's name is Mimi. I don't know if that's her actual name or if that's just what people call her, but everyone calls her Mimi, so I'm assuming that's her actual name. Literally when they were introducing her in front of a crowd, they're this is Mimi. So I guess her name is Mimi, but don't quote me on that. I don't really know. So basically Sage goes to her grandma's house. She goes to Mimi's house, and Mimi is riding a horse and she's going crazy. And it just has a 3-minute long section of Mimi driving the horse. Not driving the riding the horse. I think they thought it was like aesthetic or something, but it wasn't. I'll tell you what, it wasn't aesthetic. It wasn't even good. Okay. So Sage is like, I'm depressed, and she goes to Mimi, and Mimi's like, oh no, what's wrong? Sage just kind of is like, yo, my art class got cut off, and I'm like fucking pissed about it. And Mimi doesn't actually give two shits. Mimi's straight up like, okay, like, why are you telling me this, bro? I don't even get it. So that was a little bit awkward to witness, but Sage does the same thing. Like, I get where Sage gets her mannerisms from, because her grandmother does the same exact shit. Like, someone will be like, dude, I love you. Like, you're literally the best. And they'll be like, oh my God. Okay. So then there's like painting scenes and all that. The only thing I could focus on is the fact that Sage was wearing two flannels at once. She was wearing a flannel and then a flannel over her flannel, which was extremely distracting for me. I couldn't get through the scene without thinking about it. And I just don't recommend, like, please don't do that. Like, I don't know who the costume designer was in this movie, but I'm going to replace them because I don't like them. So they have dinner and Mimi's like, okay, you should plan a protest to try to get the art class back. And Sage is like, I guess. So that's literally what she does.
Artists never go down without a fight or at least a protest.
Do you really think a protest would work?
So Sage is like, yes, we're going to do a protest, and tells all her friends. Gabby, Dylan, and Tessa all get involved with it. So they're all like, this is absolutely crazy fun. Everything's going pretty fine until Mimi fucking dies. I'm just messing with you. She didn't die. She did, however, trip over her dog. Kind of confused. As it quote from the movie, the dog was just so excited for her treat.
He was so excited to get his treat.
So Mimi tripped over the dog and breaks her leg and her wrist. Now that's just devastating. If there's one thing that will ruin your career, it's a leg and wrist injury. So this was absolutely heartbreaking. I really felt it. When Sage was sobbing and crying, I was sobbing and crying with her. So that was really relatable. So then they start talking about the protest again, and Dylan starts saying how she's going to ask her mom, who's like a reporter or something, to get a press conference for them. And Sage is like, fuck this bitch, bro. Oh my God, a press conference? That is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. But they do it anyway. And when they're having this meeting where Dylan says, I'm gonna have my mom help, and Sage just like, no, they decide that they're going to do their first ever protest day called the Day of Beige. The protest happens, and it's basically where everyone has to wear beige because it's showing what life is like without color, without art. And everyone participates. It's super trendy and cool. Unfortunately though, as they're walking in and everyone's clapping at them, they do get in trouble. Their principal says, please come to the influencer's office. We're about to take a selfie. No. So they go to the principal's office, and the principal's like, I mean, you're in trouble. Just kidding. No, you're not. I think you're really cool. We just can't actually like do that. Like, we can't actually get the art class back. And they were like, fuck, like, oh my God, no. And then after the Day of Beige, they have a press conference, which this was just the most confusing thing in the whole entire fucking world to me. Like, I'm sorry, but who cares? And they just like were really like, there's a bunch of people there with like protests and signs and shit. And Sage is like, oh my God, Day of Beige. So while they're at the press conference, Sage gets a question, but they were like panicking because there are a bunch of people there. Since she was panicking when she was asked the question, Dylan goes to her place. Apparently this was a bad thing to do because Sage was fucking pissed. Sage was like, oh my God, she's trying to take control of everything. I fucking hate that slut. She didn't actually say that, but it was like implied. I did not understand this because that seems like a good thing to do. Like, if your friend is having a fucking panic attack, move her away from the situation, right? They meet up with the principal, and the principal says, listen, we're not going to be able to do this no matter what. Which I feel like this should have been mentioned at the first principal's office meeting, but it wasn't. It was mentioned in the hall after the Day of Beige. She was like, hey, just so you know, we can't actually hire a teacher. We don't, like, we literally can't. And then Sage was like, well, what about a part-time job? And then the principal was like, holy shit, bro. Oh my God. You're a genius. Oh my God. So, basically, they decide to do a part-time, they're going to hire a part-time teacher for after school, but they need $5,000 to do it, which seems like seems accurate. Actually, that seems pretty accurate for how teachers would get paid. Yep. Sage goes to the hospital to visit Mimi, who is wearing a breathing tube because, as we all know, when you break your leg, that does affect your lungs. So she goes to the hospital, and Mimi says, can you do this thing for me where I like go and ride a horse? And she was like, fuck no, bitch. I am not riding that horse. And then she goes talks with her dad, and her dad is like, no, you have to ride the horse. And she was like, yeah, okay. After the day of beige, they decide they're going to be doing one big fundraiser where they do something at this parade with the hot air balloons and the horses. So all the fundraisers they do flop. And then Dylan suggests, what if we just split into two? We have the music side and the art side. You and Gabby can do the art side, and her and Tessa Brooks can go and do the music side. And Sage is like, fuck no. Fuck no. I fucking hate you. And blows off some steam, gets really fucking pissed off at them, and yells.
Let's go, Tessa. I'm so sick of you.
So Sage gets mad at everyone in her life, like literally everyone in her life.
And the acrylics. Okay, Gabby, I get it.
And then the next day, Sage goes to school and says, Gabby, I didn't mean it. And Gabby's like, okay. And then later that day, it's revealed that Dylan became too much of a control freak and ended up pushing a bunch of people away, which sucks. But that means Tessa now is good with our girl Sage. Let's go. No, I'm just fucking kidding. I'm on Dylan's side for life. For lifers. Okay, for life. Me and Dylan, for lifers. Okay. Dylan and Sage end up talking, and then they go to the little horse show. Sage does have a mini panic attack, but then ends up doing it fine. She does this scarf trick, which everyone was hyping up. It wasn't that cool. I'm gonna be really honest with you. The art program comes back. Hope y'all enjoyed. Would I go watch this again? No. Should you watch this? Probably not. But you know, be who you are. Do what you want, you know? Please do not ask me what website I watched this off of. Okay, bye.